So this video must be very special because I recorded it and then it's lost, it's deleted, most of it. Okay, so we learned from the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Chaim in Mesilat Yesharim, path of the righteous, path of the just, that even beasts and wild animals, it's in their nature to protect themselves, to escape, to flee harm. Sorry, not the Ramak. The Ramchal. Rabbi Moshe Chaim luzatto. So the beast, the wild animals, it's their nature to protect themselves, escape, and flee from harm. One who willingly self-blinds himself, is lower. One who actually hurts himself is lower. Even animals flee from that. Regardless whether it's intentional avoidance or just negligence that leads to denial, it's unreasonable to live between, on the one side, the boringness, and on the other side, dangerousness. We could say this is like an anxiety spectrum, a lack of trust spectrum, which is not a belief in God. And the evil inclination burdens the person's heart so that the person feels full, but of baggage, clutter, weight. The person is crammed. They cannot reflect and see and have insights clearly of what is good and what is bad, and on their path, on their trajectory, on their ways. And meanwhile, self-scrutiny would automatically yield the remorse and the regret, would intensify, and Hashem brings salvation, but the constant, incessant labor from the evil inclination is like a ploy, like the way a skilled warrior would be cunning and expertly, to be impossible to escape without great wisdom and far-reaching vision. The heart becomes confounded. There's no time to oppose or plot against the evil inclination. Like when Jews were in Egypt with Para, it was like they just had to work so hard that they never got a chance to really reflect and see the situation. So if he gives no heed to himself, why heed him? It says in berachot 33a, it's forbidden to pity someone who doesn't know or has no knowledge. In other words, from avos 1:14, ethics of the fathers. And if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? Watchfulness is when caution in deeds matters, and not overseeing if good or evil, and not abandoning his, soul to the danger of the destruction, God forbid, and not walking like a blind man in the darkness at the side of a cliff. Now chapter 3, that was chapter 2. Chapter 3, he who wants to watch over himself, he has to investigate two matters. One, he has to contemplate what is true good to choose and true evil to flee from. And two, on the actions he does to determine if they're good or evil, whether in the act of doing, he shouldn't do any act without weighing it on the scales of this understanding. And when he's not in the act, he should bring up the remembrance of the deeds and weigh them to determine what evil they contain to relinquish, what good they contain to perpetuate and strengthen. And it's like self-inquiry. Am I living in line with my values? Am I aware of my values? Am I being honest about my intentions with myself? Do I have integrity? And there's two techniques. He calls them pishpush and mishmush. Pishpush is like an examining. You eradicate from your deeds based on what you learned from self-inspection that all the deeds that are not in line with God's commandments and statutes. And then feeling out is the mishmush. It's like you inspect the good deeds and see if they have anything leaning not good or any evil component which he needs to remove or eradicate. And there's this principle of daily, meticulously weighing your ways, watching over and inspecting all your deeds, all your ways, to not leave any bad habit, trait, or any transgression or sin. And also, so it's basically you want to examine fixed times every day and also all the time. And with great regularity in the accounting, you get great results. Like merchants with their goods, they are so their business matters don't degenerate. They're constantly making sure everything's in good condition, everything's perfect. And the evil inclination holds someone captive in prison. His eyes do not see truth. He cannot recognize it. But the evil inclination literally blinds his eyes, like walking in darkness, where there's stumbling blocks before him, but his eyes don't see it. And if we think about it, darkness of night causes two vision problems. One, it covers the eyes so that you can't see clearly what's right in front of you. And two, it deceives you so you think a man is a pillar and a pillar is a man. So you can't make out what things are. And like material and the physical, there's also the third eye, the inner eye, which is the eye of the intellect, like the vision of a person on the inside. So this first one is preventing him. He's prevented from seeing stumbling blocks because it's blocked. And so people walk confidently, they fall, they're lost, and they haven't even felt fear or any knowledge of the stumbling block. They felt as secure as an edifice. And number two, distorted view of evil, as if the evil is good, and as if the good is the evil, conjuring up great proofs, convincing evidences, to support their evil logic and false ideas, and becoming enveloped by great evil that clings to them, carrying them into the abyss of destruction. I'm thinking like a prey. Due to being under darkness, held captive under dominion of the evil inclination. But those who escape this prison, they could see clearly the truth, and they counsel each other. They counsel other people on it. It's like the labyrinth. The labyrinth is like a maze, and it's in the nature with like there's a lot of like it could be in the nature like in a way that there's a lookout tower. They say it's like in the midst of the maze, and that's the goal. And on the way, you determine, it's very deceptive which path to try to get there. They all appear similar, like which is correct. But once you get to the tower, you could look out. Then you see clearly, then you know the way. So the one who has made it out can tell others the correct path on the way. He can discern between the true and the false because of his visual familiarity from the prior experiences. But still, sometimes people don't believe him and they remain lost. They fail to reach it. So too, one who still hasn't ruled over his inclination is lost in the midst of the pathways. He cannot distinguish between them. But those who rule over their evil inclination, who have already reached the tower and left the pathways, and who clearly sees the pathways before their eyes, counseling those willing to listen, they clearly see the pathway before their eyes, counseling those willing to listen, and these people we must trust. He says to the true path for the good, he seeks, and there's no other besides this. So we'll stop with that because this video is for Friday. I'm recording it a little early just so that we could have enough time, so that I could have enough time on Friday to prepare for the Sabbath, Shabbos, and I want to give us a blessing that we shouldn't have anger in our muscles, bones, sinews, and anywhere in our body. We should have full healing. We should have pure love. We should have resources. We should have our skills. We should be protected. We should have regeneration and reflection and no entanglement by manipulations, and trust in Hashem. Surrender our control to Hashem. We should be responsible, accountable, honest, to be ourselves with integrity and aware and living in line with our values. Not worshiping anyone, not perpetuating guilting, punishing, abusive patterns, and not wanting worship, and not wanting anyone to worship us, and to have mercy, no suffering, no hero, no villain, no victim, no martyr, and to really see in truth and in clarity. And may we be willing to be one. And to let go of the old world and everyone who doesn't belong to us, who doesn't belong to me, to you, each one individually. And to be open, welcome to our future, to the new world. Perhaps that could be a partner. May anyone who needs a new partner to be blessed with a new partner. Perhaps it's a new transition in a relationship. Perhaps it's a new location. May we let go of our fear of uncertainty or the unknown and be brave and enter in to the new world. And wholeheartedness, moving from Kislev to Tevet and enjoying our work and with zealousness and satisfaction and fulfillment and meaning and purpose. Amen. Have a good Shabbos, everybody.